guys, my name is Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. So today I'm going to do a review for The Forest, and this one's a bit hard for me because obviously I've spoken about the suicide forest in Japan. If you didn't know, that's what this film was about. There is a forest in Japan that people go to commit suicide in the forest. There's no nice or sugar-coated way to say it. People go to die there. So obviously it's a quite controversial topic, and there's actually been a documentary that I think I suggested I must have talked about sometime by Vice that's called Suicide Forest in Japan. Definitely look that up if you haven't heard of it. It will explain a lot about this movie, but it also let me down a little bit because I was really interested in the forest, but this movie really doesn't feature much of the forest itself. It just kind of uses it as like an aspect or like a scene within the film, if that makes sense. It is set in the forest, but it hasn't got a lot to do with like the plots and subplots, if that makes any sense. I really would have liked to see this film, and probably would like to see a film about the suicide forest completely on its own, and maybe, I know this is probably really cliche and probably the most easiest way to do it, but like a found footage thing, like Blair Witch type, going into the forest and filming around. I'm totally into that. Something like that. But I didn't like the way that they used the forest as a background that really had nothing to do with the storyline. So that all being said, this film is about a woman who has a twin sister, and her twin is like on the wrong side of the tracks, which is, there's cliches in this movie for days, but there's this really big cliche where they're both twins, identical twins, and the one who's like got her shit together is blonde hair, you know, like dresses all businessy, and then the one who's like kind of falling apart, rough around the edges, obviously has like brown hair and is more like a rocker hippie chick. I hate those stereotypes. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, leave them where Mary-Kate and Ashley live, because we're over that shit. But I digress. What happens in the film is the one who's a little bit rough around the edges, she happens to be in Japan, I guess, teaching, and then she goes to the suicide forest. And then the twin, who is in America, actually has like these flashes of like, you know, like the twin energy where you can feel something going on with your family or your sister or your twin sister, and she can feel her sister's in pain or trying to escape or something's wrong, and everyone's telling her that her sister is dead because obviously she went into the suicide forest, and if she would have come out, it would have happened by now. But she decides to pack up and go and try and find her in the suicide forest in Japan. So the film is super cliche in the fact that she goes to Japan, and then, you know, everyone's warning her, don't go off the tracks, don't do this, don't stay out in the forest at night, like super cliches. And then she decides to do that anyway. And you know what's gonna happen. People tell her that people have tricks played on their minds there, and not everything you see is real. You know exactly what's gonna happen in this movie. But the thing I don't like about this movie is they don't really use the full advantage of the scenery, of the place, of the history. They kind of touch on it a little bit, but then it goes straight into the sisters and their kind of backstory, and it's all about them. And I just feel like if that was the case, this could have been set anywhere. And there were some scenes where it was kind of cool, like seeing some ghosts in the background, but within the whole realm of things, it wasn't fully explored the way that it should have been. The history should have been more exposed. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion, I guess, but I just felt like I was really excited to see this movie about like Japan suicide forest, and that didn't really happen. I hate saying this. I actually heard bad reviews about this, and I heard people weren't too impressed, so I went in there thinking this isn't going to be a good movie, and it's kind of sad when you've lowered your expectations so far and then you watch it and you're like, okay, yep. Okay, moving on. But all that negativity aside, I'm gonna tell you guys, if you like jump scares, and I guess cheap like jump scares, like screeners pretty much, of like the face going fucked up and things like that, you like that, or you're in the mood for that in a horror movie, this will be your film, because there's plenty of jump scares. I mean, I kind of jumped a couple of times, but it's very predictable, like the music, you know, that music build up and then there's silence, and then you just, you know when a jump scare is gonna appear. Lots of fucked up faces, lots of things grabbing for the camera, all that type of stuff. So if you like that, or if you like watching those films with friends and getting like a laugh out of them, or if you're just in the mood for something really cheap and easy, like cheap scares, this is definitely for you. I want to say the overall story and like the subplot about the twins and their background is quite obvious, and I mean, I think it's supposed to be obvious, but there's no real twist in the film. If you're waiting for that, it's just exactly what you expect, and yeah, I would go on this with really low expectations. I would say it's very messy, especially towards the end. Too much is happening. too many jump scares. It's just all a bit too much, or too little too late, I guess. I hope that that's not too negative for you guys. I'm gonna give this one a personal score of 4 out of 10 just because it wasn't really my cup of tea. I'm gonna give it a scare score of, I'll give 6 out of 10 just because there are a lot of jump scares. Even though they're predictable, it's still a bit scary. And I'm gonna give this one originality score of 4 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and hopefully it was at all helpful for you guys. If you've seen this movie, which I know plenty of you guys have, let me know down in the comments down below what you thought about it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at AstroEmma, and I'll see you guys soon. Stay spooky. Bye.